Will you ever cover the Epstein files? Maybe watch a YouTube video on it. All of it is super boring to me, though. I have no desire. I think it's the biggest red herring, like mindfuck waste of time in the universe. Maybe I'll listen to something later on it. I don't know. I have zero interest. Until something like more solid comes out, I have zero interest in unverified, unauthenticated emails that are just showing crazy shit. It's just the most boring thing in the world to me. And there's like a billion other people that are going over it. So how can you say the emails are non-verified? The FBI released parts of Epstein's private emails. No, can you explain? When I say unverified, I mean like we don't know the authenticity of any of the claims made in the emails. Like people can talk shit or say a bunch of random crazy shit in the emails. I assume the FBI would have ran a lot of these down. Like I just have no interest in reading through like a million crazy emails to see a bunch of crazy things. I was like, I don't know how to validate or verify if any of these accusations are true. If anything comes of it that's actually true, I imagine or I hope that some investigative journalist figures it out. Or maybe there's a fucking, there's never gonna be a DOJ thing, not under this administration. But otherwise it's just super the most boring thing in the universe to me.
He's like genuinely upset at me, and that made me kind of mad. I'm like,
it's certainly more relevant and impactful than this, no shade. I do agree with you that it's more relevant and more impactful, but I would say in the worst thing ever. I think that the Epstein files right now, like we've gone through the damage to the other side, I think it is probably one of the worst things that can happen on the Democratic side, because I think it is a mindfuck, neck yoink towards something that is ultimately never going to result in any kind of criminal charges ever, and it plays into the ultimate retard narrative, both sides are pedophiles, Bill Clinton, all these people, both sides are pedophiles, all of them, they're all pedophiles, the pedophile ring. This weird obsession that people have with the billionaire politician's secret pedophile ring is one of the most mind-wrought, cancerous fucking accusations, because no matter what you show them, they're always going to believe it, and it's always a both sides thing, and it's always the billionaires and the deep state, and it's so boring. If something solid with evidence comes out, then fine, but until then, my position is the same as it was a year or two ago. I think it's a bunch of shit that could look bad, and some of it maybe sounds bad in context, or people are hanging out with him, and it's like, ooh, like, damn, you guys should have known, or something like that, but there's not going to be like a smoking gun or a crazy, like, oh shit, this guy actually did something fucked up or wrong. That's my guess. You know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, then something will change in the future, but until then, I'm not going through every single retarded fucking look in this email, they say torture video, and it's like, okay, I don't know what the fuck, I have no idea. I think it's kind of good, sure, but there's probably nothing in it, but the Dem using a conspiracy against MAGA is a win to me. My guess would be the vast majority of the people that believe the Epstein files is some massive thing or whatever, but like my guess would be 75 to 85% of the people who believe that think it equally impacts or close to equally impacts both sides. So I don't even know if that's like a huge win or whatever, but maybe not. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on it. Maybe, I don't know if there's like polling on that. I kind of agree, but it seems like you are turning your brain off because conspiracy theorists are retarded. Both can be true. No, I'm not. I'm open to, if somebody like finds something that seems credible, then fine, but I'm not going to go through all the emails or watch like amateur random reporting because it's not interesting to me. Why? If something comes out, I'm fully open to like, oh shit, that's some crazy shit. But reading like emails that say a thing, and it's like, is there any way to verify that this actually happened or whatever? It's just super not. It's just not interesting to me. But I've never been interested in anything like this ever. Like I don't do breaking news stuff generally, or like for this reason exactly. It's just super boring to me. Like there's the same take I've had on these for like a year or 2 years or whatever. If Dems messaged them getting in power, they would prosecute and fully release the files, then that would be a big win politically. Well, or it would be a big loss in the same way that it's been a big loss for the Republicans, right? Republicans thought that there was some huge shit with the Epstein files. They get into power. There's not. They have nothing to prosecute. And now they look fucking retarded and horrible for it. But you could play the same thing on the Democrats. It's like, oh shit, there must be a ton of stuff. Maybe they get back into power. The DOJ looks in. It's like, there's not even like really anything here for us to prosecute. Like it's a bunch of emails. There's no subpoenaing we can do to figure out the truthfulness of any, like, oh fuck. And now we look fucked again. Like why? But I'm never convincing most people against this. So I just don't usually talk about them. The people who are bought into the global pedo conspiracy ring are never ever being persuaded otherwise. But hey, if I'm wrong and some smoking gun evidence comes out, then fine, then let it come out. Then we'll go over it then. But this type of speculation is the most boring shit to me. What would an example of smoking gun evidence be? Well, I mean, really strong circumstantial evidence would help. If somebody said like 2 men raped this girl in an email, and then there's like this girl filed a police report that coincides with information that wasn't previously made public or something like that would be like stuff leading in this direction. You don't technically need like videos or eyewitness testimony or whatever, but the strongest was probably the one case from that girl who killed herself, right? I don't know if she implicated anybody else in improper behavior though, or if it was just Epstein himself, I'm not sure. There are accounts like that, Stephen. Okay, JBUE6LF. Give me the strongest one right now. Don't name a random thing, and then when I go through it and it's bullshit, like, okay, wait, what about this? Give me the absolute strongest one right now. Go ahead. JBUE6LF, and I'll look at it right now because my voice is dying reading this fucking transcript. I implore you, this is not a nothing burger. There is smoking guns on these files. Please, man, we need you on this one. Why? Everybody in the world is covering these. Why do you need me on this one? Are you just blackpilled that we won't get anything relevant to the Epstein investigation while Trump's out of office? I don't think there's anything chargeable. That's my take. That's been my take for 2 years. I don't think there's anything chargeable. I think they probably investigated what they could. There was nothing chargeable, and that's it. And now people are just going to start combing through every email in the court of public opinion to say, well, isn't this kind of weird? And then all the conspiracy theorists are going to run crazy. People love the concept of the global billionaire celebrity pedo conspiracy ring, politician conspiracy ring. Like, that's, people love this concept. I don't know why, but people are fascinated with it. They're obsessed with it. They wanted it to be true for the Diddy stuff. They wanted it to be true for prior to the Epstein stuff, before MAGA found out that I guess Trump was in so many of the things. But did that guy mention a name? I just gave a name. JVUE6. Ted Gunderson, former head of the FBI. Oh God, how all great conspiracies start. The former head of the CIA. So is this just going to be him saying things like the investigation was? I'm saying, like, in the emails, is there like a thing that points to something specific that happened that can be corroborated by something? So what am I looking up? Okay, what does this guy say? This guy died in 2011. Why did he die? Because he was investigating the Epstein stuff. He lives in the pizza basement. What about the supposedly dead bodies in the golf course in Mar-a-Lago? That should definitely be looked into. Well, aren't there at least some people buried there because he wanted to get like an exemption for a cemetery? Didn't he do that with like his ex-wife? Am I making that up? Trump, wife, buried, golf course. How did you know? What do you mean? This was talked about like years ago. Hold on. These are the most low IQ takes ever. In before Destiny skims it, calls it a nothing burger, and then acts shocked in 3 years. If in 3 years, people have put together or cobbled together some incredibly convincing stuff, and then it turns out to be like a real thing, they're like, oh shit, like, yeah, we should look at this. But that doesn't justify digging into every single thing before that happens. This is like one of the lowest IQ takes you could possibly give. Oh my God. Is it not plausible that the grab him by the pussy guy that was besties with Epstein and bought a teen beauty pageant didn't sample the goods a little bit? I feel like this one is much more than a shitty Pizzagate conspiracy and shouldn't be in the same box with that retard shit. Just turn your brain off. Honest to God, you want the honest take? I don't think Trump enjoys or cares about any of that shit at all. I think he's kind of a fucking loser. I don't think he says he doesn't do any drugs at all, doesn't even fucking drink. I bet that when he was paying Stormy Daniels and shit, he just wanted people to say like, I fucked a porn star or whatever. I'm sure he quote unquote enjoyed looking at the fucking teen models or whatever the fuck, but I don't know if he would have been so sex crazed that he wanted to go and start fucking them or whatever. It seems like a guy who's like super obsessed with status and obsessed with the things surrounding status. I don't know if I've ever seen evidence of or feel like Trump is like necessarily like this huge sex pervert. Maybe is it Eugene Carroll, the E. Carroll case? I don't know the details of that. Maybe I should have if I read that, but just listen to how he talks about everything else. He seems like a crazy fucking buzzkill on fucking everything. I feel like if he would have been fucking all these kids, or if he would have been doing like crazy shit, I feel like we would have so many stories of that. The idea that could be kept under wraps for so long, I don't know. That maybe, but maybe not. I don't know. That's just the impression I have. But what if he was just filtering kids to Epstein and not fucking them? That might be true. I could believe that to some extent. But that Mar-a-Lago shit that he admitted, but he literally admitted that, like on the tarmac or whatever. That was crazy. It's like, well, he took one kid. We said no more, and then he took a second one, and then we banned him. So I mean, that might be, but yeah. Wouldn't emails count as stories in this case and the FBI tips? Yeah, they could, but these aren't things that are like said or alleged under oath, right? They could make people's statements might change a lot when you actually, yeah. Let me attempt to clarify for chat. You have no issue with people going through the files and looking into this. You just don't want to do it personally, correct? Why do you have to clarify that? What do you think? Have I said anything differently? Nobody should go through the apps. Nobody should even look at it. Protect them all. Don't look at anything. If journalists want to go through it or people want to go through it, that's fine. I don't care. They should. They probably should. It's a huge treasure trove of information. Even if there aren't any crazy pedo allegations made, I think there can be a lot of interesting social connections made between how many of these people knew each other behind the scenes and we're all working together on a lot. I think there's a lot of weird conservative shit that's come out about that. What about the American tech billionaires like Peter Thiel and how they try to manipulate people in politics in America and other countries? I think that's an interesting story, yeah. But, and I think, like I said, I think there's like been a lot of weird connections that I think people are starting to establish and who's communicating with who. Maybe the Mueller report can move forward with this. I don't. The Mueller report is done, my dude. Destiny, Melinda Gates divorced Bill over this. Your threshold for what could be considered a scandalous enough for political blackmail operations is not a reality. There could be stuff blackmail worthy in here that doesn't necessarily be with fucking kids. I just don't care. Oh my God. I will never, ever, ever, ever care about shit like this. When there's like an actual more concrete stuff to go over, that stuff is interesting to me. I don't like the cobbling together from 50 trillion random pieces. I don't like to look at the sky and try to draw a constellation. It's just not enjoyable for me. I don't enjoy it. I've never enjoyed it. I never will enjoy it. If other people figure some compelling shit out, then I'll probably look into it. I'll probably listen to videos or read articles, whatever about it. But until then, it's just, that is the least enjoyable thing. And there are so many people that do this already. Why would you watch me do it? I'm never going to comb through all these documents. Fuck that. Or even any percentage of them. There are so many other people that are doing this. Go watch them do it. There are so many people that do it. Watch them do it. Everybody talks about this shit. Why do you need me to talk about it? You enjoyed looking into Aegon Chalakian. Yeah, for like 4 hours. Like, I looked into the Epstein death stuff. I read the Federal Bureau of Prisons report. That was more time than I put into the Aegon shit or whatever. You could have made the same argument about covering Charlie Kirk, and you covered that plenty. What? Why not be the person that actually goes through them and you'll be able to speak of it more? This is a topic that isn't going away. And eventually, I think it is. I think it will go away. That's my whole point. And someone will make you look bad based on it. Make me look bad because I wasn't willing to go through the trove of all the fucking Epstein emails? Bro, I'd rather kill myself. What a retarded fucking... Why? Jesus. Would you look more into it, Epstein, if it continues to be a massive topic of conversation going forward in debates, combos? Maybe. I mean, like, if there's criminal cases filed or something, because then we have a real indictment to look over, real evidence that people are presenting to try to convince a jury. That would be more interesting, but... Can you at least admit that they destroyed evidence? Didn't they ask them to redact some files or whatever based on if Trump was in them? Don't we already know that? But it would have been investigated already under Biden's DOJ, so it's not like that destruction of evidence would be relevant to anything, no? It's the biggest story right now, but we want to hear your opinion. I've given my opinion on it. My opinion is everybody's obsessed with there being a global pedo whatever fucking ring, and people will do anything to get that story. People love that story. But until a smoking gun or something comes out, I don't give a fuck about it. That's one of the most boring conspiracies in the universe to me, okay? I don't care about the obsession with the global pedo billionaire celebrity politician ring. Thoughts on the bodies of victims said to be buried at Mar-a-Lago in the files. Why would you bury your victims on your own property? Yes. Listen, then get a court order and go dig them up. Fuck. Jesus. I was in your perspective until this last drop. There's still 3 million files not released. Then, listen, when they're released, I will spend the rest of my life going over every single file. I will sit here on stream every single day. We'll read every email. It was not Mar-a-Lago. It was the Cali golf course. Okay, then go dig up that one, okay? Why do you think the admin is doing so much to cover it up? I already said it because any relation or any name drop in anywhere is going to make you look bad. Publicly, it's always going to be a thing that looks bad, regardless if there's any criminal behavior or not. We want to hear your level-headed analysis for at least an hour because you're the only person with the take it's just a conspiracy. Even if they're all fake, it would be so much more entertaining than this. Well, you lost the poll. Also, I'm not even saying that it's just a conspiracy and it's all bullshit. Although I personally lean that way. Even if there is bad stuff that happened, my guess is going to be there's nothing in the emails that's going to lead you to that. Like, you're not going to have enough information to have a smoking gun conclusion there. It's just going to be a bunch of stuff that looks weird. And there's not going to be anything further. I mean, the FBI has more tools to investigate than we do, arguably. And if they couldn't find anything, then... But hey, listen, if I'm wrong, I'm not even going to say if I'm wrong. It's not even about me being wrong. If something comes out that's solid on any of this stuff and they publish it or report it, they won't go with that or whatever. I'm with you on the no pedo ring shit, but some of these emails just look horrible and hard to defend. From blank to Jeffrey Epstein. Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty. Like, dude, I don't know if we want to do this, because then all of chat, like, boomers say retarded fucking shit. And this could mean a billion retarded fucking things. But I mean, like, people have set their mind in one direction, and it's like all pedophile shit. Maybe that was this email. Thank you for a fun night. The child that you gave me was a super naughty child rape. Like, new Brazilian just arrived. Sexy and cute equals 9 years old. Best regards. This is a weird one. Don't know what that is. Don't know what these attached pictures are. Did the FBI investigate it? Let's say there's like a million emails like this. What am I supposed to do with this? Like, looks bad. I hope that somebody investigated it. What am I supposed to say? What do you, like, wow, crazy. That's crazy. Not good. I feel like you are giving the most charitable possible explanation for every single email. I'm not. This could be some fucking pedophile shit. It could be. I'm not. Nobody can understand not having a position on something. You either are affirmative or you're negative. You're either yes or no. I'm not either. I don't know. This could be pedophile shit. It could be bad. Or it could not be. I don't have the information to say. That's the whole point. If I don't have the information to make a conclusion, I just don't really give a fuck. I don't care. I don't know what I'm like, let's sit here and speculate, guys. Let's go through and speculate on the, I don't know. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. This is not entertaining or exciting to me. It's not fun to sit here and speculate on this shit. This could be really bad. I'm not saying there's no chance it is. I'm saying I don't have the information to make a conclusion about it. Or to even speculate that much about it. I have no fucking idea. My guess is going to be, if the FBI has this email, new Brazilian just arrived, sexy and cute equals 9 years old, best regards, whatever. There are picture attachments to this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pictures. I imagine the FBI or whoever's investigating this probably has these attachments. I don't know. Why were there no criminal charges filed? I don't know if there's I don't know if Brazilian can refer to some other fucking bullshit, or if this is some retarded guy who's, I don't know. I just have no idea. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to speculate from this. This is boring to me. I don't care. What's the good interpretation of this email? I guess the only interpretation is that this is an international sex pedophile, whatever, trafficking ring, and that all of these people were involved in it, and they all knew, and they all covered it up. There you go. Okay? I believe you. There, I believe it. There, I said it. Okay? That's what's happened. Go get them all. Okay? Go do it. Go get them. All of these people, all of them. There is enough information to suggest a cover-up of co-conspirator. To suggest? That's not... Okay. Watch the CoffeeZilla. Okay, we'll watch the CoffeeZilla people. The Epstein files are getting way worse.
It only gets worse from here. We're going back into the 3 million documents.
I hate all of you so much. Oh my God. It's okay. All right, let's go.
So far, we mostly covered how billionaires lied about their relationship with Epstein and or got blackmailed in the drafts, eventually killing their marriage. We talked about Howard Lutnick, how he lied about meeting Epstein, although he still denies this. And we also talked about some horrible accusations against Trump and Bill Clinton, although we were clear that they are unverified. Now, some people have responded to the release, like Elon Musk, saying that no one fought harder for the full release of the Epstein files than I did. Ironically, he claims that he knew that the playbook of the far-left propagandists and legacy media is admit nothing, deny everything, and making counter-accusations, saying he had never set foot on Epstein's creepy island or attended parties, despite the fact we saw last time that Elon was asking to be invited to the party. What day night would be the wildest party on your island? Nevertheless, I think it's an interesting point. The playbook, as we get into this much darker side of the 3.5 million files, you're going to notice this trend is true, that everyone we're going to talk about, basically they admit nothing, they deny everything, and then they usually make counter accusations against other people in the files. Almost no one has faced any kind of consequences for this whole thing, leading me to wonder, why is it that it seems like really only in the rest of the world has anyone faced anything? I mean, you've got the former Prince Andrew losing his title, you've got the Slovakia National Security Advisor resigning over the Epstein links, but in America, I'm really hard pressed to think of anyone who has actually faced any kind.
Stuff in other countries could be things like people could take actions in those countries, because my guess would be there's a lot that would probably be the most interesting stuff, because our FBI would have access to everything in the Epstein files, obviously, but the other countries might not have had access to any of that information. It could just be that they think it looks bad enough that they don't want to be associated with it, or they might have more information that makes it more credible or whatever, and we should ask them to release stuff. That should be, for people that are firing people based on what's in the Epstein files in other countries, you should ask them, why did you fire him? Release more information on it. Maybe they have more shit. Who knows?
Kind of accountability. I think Larry...
Go to move. Dude, fuck. My voice is... I shouldn't have read that whole fucking transcript. My voice is dying. What?
I'm just hanging out.
Good. Okay.
Just hanging around.
Larry
So you don't
Summers
think
stepped
this
back.
is a burger at all?
If it is, and I'm sure somebody will make a good video and report on it, and there's gonna be some crazy shit that come out.
So you don't care about pedophilia?
I love memes. Good one.
Voluntarily, but other...
Let me figure out how to make this fucking work. Hold on.
I know. Yeah, I mean, I was in the bathtub and you were having a hard set. I mean, they're getting to you. Don't let them get to you, Steven. Don't let them get you.
You're gonna die.
Yeah.
Does that show anything on?
Hold on, I'm waiting.
Good luck.
Other than that,
Yeah,
it's
that's
hard to think
good.
of anyone who's faced
You have
any kind of justice.
volume?
In fact,
Yep,
arguably,
it's good.
Good.
Ghislaine Maxwell's life is better than it was previously since these Epstein files have dropped. And what's crazy about this is that we know that the government story is false. Remember, the FBI documents showed they had 10 co-conspirators they were investigating. We also got an old draft of an indictment where they had several co-defendants with Epstein. Now, of course, we know these were never ultimately charged. This was back in 2005, but just imagine all the way back in 2005, where these charges are from, we already had evidence that Epstein was not working alone. And like, of course he's not. But now we're going to talk a little bit about how the scheme operated. Now, to be clear, we're going to talk in a second about the laundering of Epstein's reputation, the people who protected him this whole time. But right now, I want to talk about how Epstein got some of these girls in the first place, because the Epstein files provide an interesting look behind the curtains. Obviously, we know Ghislaine Maxwell was helping, whether it be procure the girls, talk them into stuff. But now we have emails of a different side of the scheme. It says, yesterday I spoke to Daniel Syed, who Jean-Luc Brunel described as a scout or recruiter of girls or women for Jeffrey Epstein. Attached to this incoming email from Brunel is the contact information he has for Syed. And then they blacked out his number and email. But digging into Jeffrey's emails with Daniel shows that he was constantly sending him links to girls. It shows Jeffrey Epstein paying Daniel 3,000 euros, which, to be clear, was the amount that was agreed to by Jean-Luc Brunel. Quote, Dominique, we will pay him 3,000 euros each month for scouting for a 6-month period. On all models we will get him, we will pay him 5% commission on their earnings. Imagine it's like baseball or it's like basketball. You're scouting for, I hate to use the word talent, but that's really what this guy was doing. He was going around the globe trying to find people for Jeffrey Epstein and Jean-Luc Brunel. According to one lawsuit, Epstein trafficked a Jane Doe to Jean-Luc Brunel many times. It describes their operation as this: many of the girls came from poor countries or impoverished backgrounds. He lured them in with a promise of making good money. Quote, Brunel has been a model scout for various modeling agencies for many years, and he was apparently able to get U.S. passports for young girls to work as models, eventually, of course, being sent to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, it should be noted that Jean-Luc Brunel himself died in prison by hanging, and that's while he was being accused of horrible crimes related to trafficking and minors. So this guy is not a good guy. He was part of the op, along with Daniel Syed, who was also scouting on behalf of Epstein and Jean-Luc Brunel. They had their agreement. Here's a sample of how this would work. Jeffrey Epstein asked him to take a full body shot of someone. Daniel Syed says, now she's really skinny, I will do Polaroid. Jeffrey Epstein asks for a copy of her passport and then asks, how many tickets do you want for Woody, meaning Woody Allen? He says 2. Okay, thank you. Full body if possible. And then Jeffrey Epstein says, doesn't look too happy. Comments on her body. And then he says she is very sweet. I'll skip a few of the sordid details here. They comment about her body extensively. And then Jeffrey Epstein says, I sent a request that she want to come out to Paris on Sunday. He says, I will invite to come. And this is basically how it worked. Daniel Syed flew.
Jesus, what was that? She is nice. Her boobs are awful.
Request that she want to come out to Paris on Sunday.
They will have to be redone. Oh, fake boobs.
He says, I will invite to come. And this is basically how it worked. Daniel Syed flew around the world looking for women, sending photos to Jeffrey.
Wait, how old was this girl? Was she 15 or 16 with a boob job? Is that, or just complaining about her boobs in general?
Epstein, who then would get a copy of their passports and see how it. Epstein says her body, and then
she was 18 or something.
He says 2. Okay, thank you.
Oh,
full body if possible. And then
think so.
Jeffrey Epstein says doesn't look too happy. Comments on her body, and
she regrets it when she was 18. Oh, that's when she got the surgery, so we don't know how old this person was. Okay, well, she was at least 18, but okay.
And he says she is very sweet. I'll skip a few of the sordid details here. They comment about her body extensively. And then Jeffrey Epstein says, I sent a request that she want to come out to Paris on Sunday. He says, I will invite to come. And this is basically how it worked. Daniel Syed flew around the world looking for women, sending photos to Jeffrey Epstein, who then would get a copy of their passports and bring them to the States. Here's an example of this. Daniel Syed brings him a girl. They didn't redact his name, but I'm going to do it. He says, very nice, easygoing, dream to work in the United States or visit the United States working as a model in Dubai. He asks age. Daniel says 22 or 23. I forgot to ask her. She looks younger. I have her number if you want to call her. She was going to send this evening. And this happens over and over. At one point, he talks about a Thai actress. Jeffrey Epstein says he can see her on Wednesday, and then he complains that she wants to meet in a restaurant. I don't do that in New York. And then says she didn't even respond. Not nice. The point is, a lot of these girls were looking to come to the United States for one reason or another, for some kind of dream. They would ask for passports or visas, and then ultimately get sent here by this network of people who would later be accused of trafficking or other abuses. Now, to be clear, there have not been charges against Daniel Syed, and the government, remember, says they have no evidence to go even predicate an investigation against
Is this trafficking at least? It seems like sex trafficking, right? If you're paying money to ship a girl to another country for the purposes of fucking her eventually, yeah, I think pretty sure.
Your issue is you just don't believe in the idea that it's like there's some billionaire pedophile ring out there.
It's Epstein, almost certainly, and he killed himself, I think, over it. Almost certainly, or it seems like was proven beyond a reasonable doubt. I had to see exactly what the criminal charges were. Was getting a bunch of people to find him young and sometimes underage girls to fuck. That seems like incontrovertible. I think nobody disagrees with that. But that's not what anybody talks about when they talk about the Epstein files. They're saying that the strong claim is, and this is what most of my chat even believes, and if they try to phrase this as a straw man or something different, they're fucking lying because they just don't want to admit it. But what they believe is that Epstein was bringing young girls to a variety of billionaires, politicians, and celebrities, watching them fuck said young girls while recording it so that he could have blackmail on all these people, so that there was a giant pedo blackmail ring created that was able to force these people to cover for each other and do a whole bunch of other bad shit in finance and billionaire shit, in politics with the political people they have, or with celebrities to get more people involved. That's like the strong claim, and that's what most people believe with this, and that it impacts everybody, all the billionaires and all the politicians, Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, and all of the and whatever celebrities are involved as well. But it's like I don't know if I've ever seen strong evidence that like a single other person besides and then also there's something for the Mossad is in here apparently, and the Russian compromise is in here and everything else. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen any strong evidence that he was like feeding girls to another person, especially for blackmail purposes. But I mean, that's like the claim that everybody goes with. But I don't know. Maybe it'll end up being true. Maybe there's information that people can connect in the emails, and then they can go and do investigative journalist work that the FBI couldn't get to for whatever reason, or because other countries decide to start contributing shit to it. Maybe. But my guess is that there wasn't enough to find anything here to charge anybody. So it's probably not going to be anything in the emails for us to draw strong conclusions from. But there's going to be a ton of juicy stuff for people to make a lot of theories or whatever.
People think they're gonna go through this and like connect the fucking dots that the FBI couldn't?
Yes.
Okay.
Or, well, no, their claim is that the reason why the FBI didn't charge any of this was because everybody was telling them to cover for the wealthy billionaire, political, and celebrity friends. That's why nothing was charged. So for some reason, all the files exist and the investigation happened and nothing was deleted or destroyed, or at least most of it wasn't, but they were also strong enough to keep any charges.
Sure, if they were going to keep everything like hidden or whatever, then do they not think that they would just destroy everything? That was like,
well, I don't know, or never even do the investigation, I guess. Okay.
Charge third parties. So it's a little bit bizarre to be reading about this scouting operation for Jeffrey Epstein, the way he recruited girls, and then be told, yeah, nothing to see here. Yeah.
Mike 514 has spent $15 and kicked to ask if you will watch the full Bannon Epstein interview. Maybe in the future. We'll see.
One of the scouts was like this, like, who himself in jail. But no, there's no one else here, even though there's definitely guys floating around. Even though we literally have redacted defendants in our old draft of an indictment. We have nothing to do. We can't possibly imagine doing anything. And that brings me to one of the frustrating parts of these whole files is the redactions. I mean, I know I've been over this, but it's a different thing. In the past, the files were sort of overly redacted to protect people. The problem this time is not only are a lot of people still being protected, like literally the names of the people they were going to charge. You couldn't argue those are victims, but
so he's close with presidents, prime ministers all over the world, but yeah, the FBI is going to stop him. Do you hear yourself, Destiny? Yeah, but do you understand how retarded you are? Because then it's like, because you probably believe then that he was murdered by Trump or whatever, or that somebody went and killed him. Why would anybody kill this guy if he was part of a big blackmail ring? The whole point of getting the blackmail is so that you don't get murdered, or even arrested, or even investigated. That's the whole point of having the blackmail. So this guy was so powerful that this guy could influence the entire investigation from the FBI and all these other departments and everybody else that was doing research. You could do all that, but he couldn't keep himself from getting arrested and thrown in prison? What a fucking retard. Even Assange avoided the fucking police for longer than that. Come on.
But the work was just done so sloppy that oftentimes you'll find that the DOJ has uploaded 2 documents that are functionally identical, and they redacted one.
He was the fall guy? Oh, God.
But not the other, letting you see what's ultimately behind the mask, which is dumb because sometimes the thing they're redacting is Jeffrey Epstein's name, or other times it's somebody who clearly is not a victim because then you see the non-redacted copy and you're like, yeah, that's clearly not.
Because he can't release the blackmail. Holy shit. What? Because he's dead? There's no way. There's no dead man switch? What a great idea for blackmail. I've got the strongest blackmail ever. Really? Where is it? It's on this phone right here, and I'm the only person that can unlock it. Really? So if you died, nobody would be able to release it? That's right. Guess what happens right now? Yeah, what the fuck?
A victim. So it's a little strange what they seem to have done here. Let me give you a for instance. So we have this message from somebody whose name is blacked out, and we see participants, and then we see Jeffrey Epstein is involved, right? And it says, we need to work around your 38. We need to push back on the lies and crush the pedo trafficking narrative, then rebuild your image as a philanthropist. Now, I want to know who's doing that? Who's trying to rebuild Jeffrey Epstein's image, right? Well, we go ahead, we scroll down, and we see that Jeffrey Epstein sends something. He says, in any bar where drinking age is 18, and you see the participant is once again blacked out. But underneath it, in a separate file, we see Steve Bannon, a famous political figure, is in here. But
the fuck is this email chain about?
Trying to rebuild Jeffrey Epstein's image, right? Well,
we need to work around your 38. First, we need to push back on the lies, then crush the pedo trafficking narrative, then rebuild your image as a philanthropist. What is work around your 38? What is that a reference to?
We go ahead, we scroll down, and we see...
Like, it wouldn't surprise me that any of these people are trying to rebuild his reputation. The guy's a billionaire. If you can manage to launder his reputation, whoo, that potentially is a whole bunch of fun. Supposedly. I don't even know if that's fucking true. But I probably...
that Jeffrey Epstein sends something. He says, in any bar where drinking age is 18, and you see the participant is once again blacked out. But underneath it, in a separate file, we see Steve Bannon, a famous political figure, is in here, and he's saying the same thing. He says, first, we need to push back on the lies and crush the trafficking narrative, then rebuild your image as a philanthropist. Guys, why did you censor out his name? Or like, why was that censored at all? I don't understand. And I certainly don't understand why Jeffrey Epstein's name in this one is censored. So Jeffrey's not censored in this one, but Bannon is, and then Bannon's not censored in this one, and Epstein is. And sometimes this creates the bizarre impression that they are censoring for victim names or for some like kind of victim status or for some reason. And then you see the other file and you're like, wait, why did you do this? It's just very poorly done throughout. That's just something I wanted to...
You're talking about billionaires, man. What's the failsafe? Who's going to release the information? what he has a fucking switch connected to his heart, and if it stops, the files are released. You can't think of another way to release. Hold on, then what's the point? Then you understand that you're defeating your entire conspiracy, right? If having compromising information on billionaires is worthless because nobody's going to release it, then there's no point in having compromising information on billionaires. That undermines the entirety of your conspiracy. Then there'd be no point in doing any of this.
Wouldn't the dead man switch just be like, if I die, then
yeah, this is all getting released. I got a friend or somebody who's going to literally, publish all this shit. Yeah.
Comment on is not only did they once again not fully redact things because they were sloppy, but also like victims' names got stuck in this. Like girls' names appear sometimes, and like I'm not sure are they supposed to be redacted because they're redacted over here. They're not over here. I can kind of figure out who it is. It's just kind of a mess. I needed to point that out. You know, other times we have things like this, like Brock Pierce.
Destiny, not saying every single person who had contact with him knew or condoned or whatever, but Trump clearly had more than a business relationship with the guy, and he clearly knew. Yeah, no shit. If the guy was really wealthy, I'm sure there's a lot of people willing to look past some fucked up behavior or some pedophile shit. Yeah, for sure. That's not surprising at all. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But this is what I've said from the beginning. There's probably a lot of stuff that makes people look really bad, and public opinion is going to crucify them for it, but it doesn't mean they were part of like a give me young girls as well, like child pedophile, international billionaire, political celebrity sex trafficking ring. But that wouldn't surprise me at all if there were a lot of people that knew he was a fucking pedophile, but because this guy was so connected and, had wealth and everything else, they're like, fuck it, I can look the other way or whatever.
A co-founder of Tether, also known as the biggest stablecoin in the world. He sent a message to Jeffrey Epstein with the subject line Anastasia, and then it's just a bunch of redacted stuff with a few untitled.
The more sober take is that the blackmail entity and the child prostitution entity, Epstein, are not the same group. Trump was caught with Epstein's Russian prostitutes, but Putin got the blackmail independent. Oh, true. That's the 20 million IQ. You can say that in chat from now on. Destiny. Of course it was a massive child pedophilia trafficking circle. Epstein wasn't the perpetrator, though. He was just one of the victims. There's another guy controlling everything. And the reason why all the compromise wasn't released when Epstein died is because Epstein was killed by the guy who actually controls it. That's what was actually going to happen. Epstein was actually about to release a ton of information, and that's why the guy who actually controls everything, at the request of every other billionaire involved, had Epstein secretly killed. That's the thing. Okay, thank you. Boom. The Mossad or Putin or whoever. There we go. We're just one layer removed. Yes!
Titled JPEGs in here. And so, you're thinking to yourself, what is this? Is he sending some illicit media? Like, what is this? Well, then we have this page where it wasn't redacted. I put that little dark square. I didn't know if this should have been redacted or not. It's like a bunch of JPEGs. Now, does that contain victims? Is Brock Pierce sending photos of victims? I don't know because of the way the government did this. But underneath, it says, the Ukraine is now my favorite country, smiley face, Brock Pierce, with the subject line, Anastasia. I don't know what to make of that. I'm just saying, the redactions, like the way they did this is not
How much money will it take, name your price? $1 trillion. $1 trillion, and I will watch it.
But now let's return to Steve Bannon and his we're going to crush the trafficking narrative, because this guy, oh boy, has been revealed in the files to being like Jeffrey's right-hand PR man. I mean, this guy was filming basically a documentary about Jeffrey Epstein in order to rehabilitate his image. And some of it has actually leaked to the public. It's been interesting to watch how that's been received. But the funny thing is that originally
Just be that guy. If the people paid off the kill switch guy before offing Epstein, that takes care of the problem. Why would you tell people who your kill switch guy is? Why? That sounds like the dumbest thing ever. If you guys fuck with me, I just want you to know that Juan over there is going to release everything. Really? Juan, the guy who lives in Mexico City, Mexico, at the address 478 Pueblo Avenue? Yeah, that guy. He's going to fuck your guys' lives up. Really? The guy who has no home security and everything? Okay, gotcha. Like,
Jeffrey Epstein's plan was to just do a YouTube video, like an apology, like an old school 2016, turn on the camera for authenticity and saying, he says, you think I can...
Ghislaine?
Ghislaine. Yeah, why is she still alive?
She's alive.
Who knows? I'm sure there's a reason. Yeah, why is Ghislaine alive? Maybe because she doesn't know.
Oh, she was the real one. Maybe she's the one who was controlling Epstein.
Yeah, because who would ever guess that the leader of the pedo ring is in jail right now?
Holy shit.
And do my own video interview and upload it to YouTube. No sandbagging. Interview format or like a diary piece. Steve Bannon says if you do an interview, it can't be like Johnny does a YouTube. It has to be amazingly professional and perfectly cut. Then Jeffrey Epstein responds, Woody, we assume Woody Allen, because they were close, said he would help edit. Not sure how to stage, what points to make, but better than trying to do an interview that I have no experience doing. Goal is to humanize the monster. Anything written carries little weight. To which Steve Bannon replies, yes, Jeffrey Epstein should have been an interview format, interviewed by me. They start talking about, like, how do we do this?
God, there's so many spaces after all their punctuate. This is the most boomer. What is he, triple spacing? What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Humor, apology, how did I get rich? Question mark topics. Their brainstorm, how do we trick the public into seeing me as more than a monster? Now, funny enough, right before this, Jeffrey Epstein asks about a dinner with Woody, and then he says, or too many pedos in one place. And you gotta love the self-awareness there. Now, I don't know what...
But like, Never mind. Yeah,
He
okay.
meant by that, to be clear, I'm not making that accusation against Woody Allen. We'll talk about him in a second. That's Jeffrey Epstein saying that. I think what's interesting to point out, though, is how all these rich and powerful people are circling the wagons to try to protect Jeffrey Epstein's reputation, right? This is a guy who at this point has been known for years to have pled guilty to these 2008 charges. This was an open secret. And so Steve Bannon goes along, though, anyways, and he films this documentary. Now, what's interesting is he starts talking about the documentary, and he starts saying, I'm watching our second hour now. Guys were blown away. I didn't think it was as strong at the time, but I was wrong. Need huge part about threat of AI versus reality, threat of climate change. And this is where the notes start going back and forth of how can we get you to think of other things? So part of the conceit of this big interview of Jeffrey Epstein was to try to humanize him and actually present him as this genius, everyman, quirky guy with a few flaws, right? They knew they couldn't run away from the crimes. To quote, in Bannon's words, yes, 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 of course, but we must counter rapists who traffics in female children to be raped by world's most powerful, richest men. That can't be redeemed. You can't redeem the unredeemable. You are a lot of things, which we will show, but you are not that. Bannon is aware that, like, they can't fully embrace the Epstein thing. They have to kind of make it about more than that. And if you see the YouTube...
Hold on, is this true? Destiny, regardless of criminal charges, you don't want to know who's sexually assaulting children in the highest level of society. The DOJ accidentally uploaded over 100,000 images of child porn, some of them showing hardcore sexual assault of children of pretty rich people. Is that true? Did the government upload pictures of children being raped with well-known, wealthy people in the same picture watching?
clip going around, that's what that is. And it's been so interesting to watch the reaction because you see, even for people who've been prepped with the idea that this is basically propaganda, some of them still fall for it. They post things like, bro is casually confirming the world's conspiracies because he's talking about 2008. But guys, that's the whole deception. They're like trying to be like, hey, this guy, this horrible monster, he's going to tell you the secrets of the inside club. So you think more, that's the whole thing. That's how they're getting away with this. It's not some kind of, oh, he happened to want to talk about this. This is all premeditated. This has gone through revisions. They even call Jeffrey Epstein the smartest guy in the room.
Look, you're the smartest guy in the room, right? You know that.
It's honestly ridiculous anyone believes the false conceit of, you're obviously
I mean, if he's got this operation set up, what do you mean? I'm just kidding.
the smartest man in the room. You can tell us the world's secrets. I mean, this guy, honestly, he talks about some of his engagements, like with the Rockefeller board, and he tries to say that owning a calculator is why he got that.
It was very advanced in those days to have a Texas Instrument calculator, where it could, by putting in the numbers, it would multiply for you to do square roots. And that was the first, and everyone who had a calculator was already advanced on Wall Street. The most important parts of business were really now going to calculations.
Just
Places like
be on Wall
Rockefeller
Street with
needed
a
someone to say,
fucking
look, we're entering a different world where numbers...
Well, I don't make me look at this and defend any of this shit. I don't know how training. Wait, if you're a person who does fucking loser math and you've got like a fucking TI-83 or something, and it's the first time you've touched a graphic calculator, yeah, these things are fucking magic compared to an ordinary ass fucking calculator. To be able to graph functions or to change the rating, but there's a ton of crazy shit. You get a TI-85, you can load video games out of those fucking beige motherfuckers. Okay.
Hell yeah.
I don't know how relevant this was back in the day to being a fucking trader or whatever. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't fucking know.
Really now going to
It's
calculations.
funny to think
Places
about
like
a
Rockefeller.
trader being on the fucking floor, just looking at the next guy. Fuck, he's got a calculator.
Not
I
the
can't get one of
TI-80.
those.
Oh no.
Rockefeller needed someone to say, look, we're entering a different world where numbers and the numbers of companies, portfolio management was going to be balanced. It was going to be statistical. Jeffrey, could you come on the board, potentially sit on the finance committee?
So we're honestly supposed to believe that Jeffrey Epstein got into this prestigious Rockefeller board because he had a calculator, but also that he's the smartest guy in the room, the smartest man on Wall Street. And let's not talk about those horrific crimes he committed because, he's not really such a bad guy after all. But it wasn't just Steve Bannon that was trying to humanize or giving advice on how to humanize Epstein. It was also Richard Branson, the famous billionaire. He was caught emailing Jeffrey Epstein saying, "Dear Jeffrey, it was really nice seeing you yesterday. The boys in water sports can't stop speaking about it. Anytime you're in the area, would love to see you as long as you bring your harem." I don't know. That's not that ambiguous, guys. I think we can imagine what that means. But anyways,
I think Bill Gates was willing to say that you've been a brilliant advisor to him, that you slipped up many years ago by sleeping with a 17-and-a-half-year-old woman and were punished for it, that you've more than learnt your lesson. Is this him saying harem with regards to underage prostitutes? Or I don't even know what the allegation Coffee is making here. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know, man.
he says, one, I think if Bill Gates was willing to say that you've been a brilliant advisor to him, that you slipped up many years ago by sleeping with a 17-and-a-half-year-old and were punished for it, that you've more than learned your lesson and have done nothing that's against the law since. And yes, as a single man, you have a penchant for women, but there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, something along those lines. He's giving him PR advice. How to get your reputation back. Hey, Jeffrey, privately, I love you. You can come back anytime with your harem.
What do you think they mean by harem? Women that you're fucking, or women that look attractive, that are willing to make it look like they're fucking you? But are these underage women or just like women that... Harem is a group of women under your control. Yeah, women. Yeah, but is it... Billionaire sharing a harem? No, okay, true. That's what he meant. Yes.
Jeffrey Epstein responds, nice seeing you.
His mobile sex slave group. True! Yes! Kings.
for your hospitality. I appreciate your public relations thoughts. Now, according to the New York Times, a Branson representative said the two had a business meeting and stressed the women were adults and had not attended the meeting. All above board. That's what everyone says, by the way. Remember what Elon Musk said, right? That's the playbook. Admit nothing, deny everything. Speaking of, remember Howard Lutnick, who we showed on video saying that he had never seen Epstein since 2005?
So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
Although also calling him the greatest blackmailer ever.
This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever.
Well, also according to the Times, Lutnick said he spent zero.
Wait, how are those messages contradictory? Wouldn't those coincide with each other? I didn't spend any time with him, and he's also the greatest blackmailer ever? Like, do those...
time with him, even though there are emails basically to the contrary, where Epstein is saying, nice seeing you after the conviction. I mean, these people, not only are they lying, they won't even admit when they've been caught lying. But now let's talk about Prince Andrew, too, who was...
Jesus Christ.
I mean, these people...
And you're defending this guy.
True. In 2012, he emailed with Mr. Epstein to arrange a visit with his wife and children to Mr. Epstein's private island just before Christmas. And his assistant Mr. forwarded Lennox and messages and I sing. Okay, so he did see him. He probably lied about that. That wouldn't surprise me.
Not only are they lying, they won't even admit when they've been caught lying. But now let's talk about Prince Andrew, too, who was caught lying over a woman at some kind of a party. I mean, just not a good, this is not doing you any favors. You know, I know Prince Andrew soon will probably be on the comeback tour. It's going to be a bunch of highly paid PR execs. Maybe Steve Bannon can jump in, shoot another 5-hour podcast trying to rehabilitate him. Like, Prince Andrew, what's the secret behind the royal family?
Look, you're the smartest guy in the room.
But again, has he admitted anything? Has he denied everything? Now, we should also probably talk about Noam Chomsky as well, the guy behind the book Manufacturing Consent, which in hindsight, maybe we should have suspected something. But either way, he also sends some reputation.
You are literally defending him? I don't know how to unbreak your brain on this one. I'm sorry. My position on it is neutral. I haven't dug into any of this. Like a lot of the people talking about it obsessively are retarded. I'm sorry they are. That doesn't speak to the credibility of the stuff. And there might be a lot of fuck shit or whatever. I don't care about it. Like researching this independently. When all the dust is settled, when all the reporting is said and done, when all the new investigations or investigative media people have looked at it, then fine, I'll read shit. I'm sure there'll be some interesting shit here. But the fact that I'm not willing to sit here and jerk off over every new fucking child porn email that you obsessively want to find some celebrity's fucking name in, I just don't care that much about this type of shit. I just don't. I never have. I literally never have.
Reputational advice to his buddy Jeffrey Epstein. He says, I watched the horrible way you've been treated by the press.
Yes, because I've been bullied by Chad into watching it.
Public's painful to say, but I think the best way to proceed is to ignore it when the vultures dearly want is a public response, which then provides a public opening. In general, I think it's best not to react unless...
Just say Epstein was a pedo. I don't know about anything, so he was a fucking pedo. Epstein was a child rapist. Wasn't he convicted of rape? He wasn't convicted of being a pedophile. He was a fucking raping a kid, right? Or fucking somebody her age. You can make a stronger statement than that about Epstein. I just don't know about the global pedophile, child trading, harem, whatever ring. Like...
directly questioned, particularly in the current mood. That's the best advice I can think of. No. Now, he sends that to Matthew Hiltzik of Hiltzik Strategies, who is a also famous PR guy, I guess, trying to help Epstein, I assume, who responds, I think that is wise. Now, later talking with Bannon, Epstein loops in Hiltzik again. He says, Matt Hiltzik thought your idea was epic. Hypocrisy of the liberal left. And he says, yep, he would confidentially like to sit and help if you like. This is Matthew Hiltzik. You know, a lot of powerful people basically were bending over backwards, left, right, center.
Meanwhile, Destiny spends 12 hours looking at Google Maps and sun positions for a YouTube video about a daycare because Nick Shirley's video that he made about that daycare was going wildly viral at the time, included dozens of immediately provable false claims, and led to the mass fucking deployment of ICE to a state that just resulted in multiple fucking homicides that is like shaping the entire discourse on the appropriateness of ICE and the deployment of federal agents to different states, and it's having a huge impact on where the American public is seeing the current administration, and it's playing hopefully positively for Democrats. Like, that's an impactful, immediately relevant, important news story. Him going to California is an important thing. No, the Epstein shit is just like the jerk off fantasizing about the global pedo rings. People have been fantasizing and jerking off about this shit for a decade. They're going to jerk off about it for a decade more. It's holy shit.
Trying to rehabilitate this guy's image. And the question is, why? Why were all these guys so interested in their precious Jeffrey Epstein if they had no involvement? I mean, that's the part I can't figure out. Because all of them deny it. All of them don't admit anything. And so what exactly is the problem? But now it's time to talk about Elon Musk's brother, Kimball Musk. He was also in the files. Jeffrey was copied on an email talking about Kimball's 40th birthday.
Isn't this Epstein conspiracy good for Dems since it's about Trump? No, because all you fucking retards that think that it involves all the Democrats and Bill Gates and everybody too. The majority of people, if you ask them in real life, what do you think about, is there a way to prove this? Is there polling data on this? If you were to pull over a normie in real life and go, what do you think about the Epstein files? My guess is out of 100 of them, one will say, wow, really bad for Trump. And the other 99 will go, I can't believe all these wealthy politicians and billionaires all protected each other. Both sides. That's my guess.
birthday, where the password to the secret party was riot. And then in all caps, Boris, the sender of this email, says, I am not joking about the password. This was in 2012 in September. Now that's important because a little bit later, Kimball Musk is emailing Boris Nikolic and Jeffrey Epstein, and he's talking to them about being connected with some redacted name and saying, I believe you both played a role, whatever that means. Now, whether this was at the party or...
Put a percentage chance that you think Trump raped or molested a minor. My guess would be less than 1% would be my guess. I don't know how that information wouldn't have leaked by now. I would have to think of an exceptional chain of custody of those videos, of that information, of whatever. None of his actions are, I just can't think of it. I just can't think of how that would be possible.
Right after their meeting in October, I don't know. But what's interesting is Boris responds and says, Kimball, just FYI, you better be nice to redacted. Jeffrey goes crazy when someone mistreats his girls/friends, so better be very nice to her. Kimball Musk responds, message received, wide and clear. Then he says, seriously, I'm very happy with my time so far with Jennifer. She's great. Now again,
not anymore. They're literally talking about evil globalists. It's not both sides anymore. Evil globalist is both sides. Or it's against the left more than the right.
Was that supposed to be a redacted name we just read? Like, I don't know. They've been redacting it in earlier emails, and all of a sudden you just get Jennifer. I can't really figure that out. But what I can figure out
Why
is
does he give a fuck? Just show the fucking name. If they didn't redact it, then fucking show it, retard.
Whoa, careful. What about groping any minors? For Trump groping a minor, my guess for that would be 85% plus that he's fucking groping minors or whatever, because he's a creepy fucking loser. Or more.
A little while later, a few days later, Jeffrey Epstein gets an email. Now we know Kimball credits the meetup and says Boris and Epstein were responsible in some way for this. But now Jeffrey Epstein's being emailed about Jen's schedule. Is that Jennifer? I mean, it seems like it because Jen's schedule for the rest of the year, and it seems like the assistant has copy and pasted Jen's response because she says, Sue, these would be dates in November. And then starts saying, this, she can go to New York. She says the 29th to the 7th, she's free. Kimball to New York. Then she says, Kimball, Jen, London. Kimball, Jen, London to Morocco, question mark. And she has a break. And then it's Jen, Kimball, St. Bart's. Assuming we're not sick of each other by the end of November. Now, I can't figure out why is she running this schedule about when she's hanging out with Kimball, who Jeffrey set her up with. Like, why is she running this by Elon Musk? To be clear.
Why do you think it can't be kept secret until now? I mean, their Lake Michigan baby corpse story was heard what is the Lake Michigan baby corpse story? What is?
It might be the one where somebody gave an FBI tip and accused Trump of like killing a baby and putting it in Lake Michigan and telling a girl if she told anybody to do it to her. Something along those lines. I don't remember.
Has this been verified at all, or?
I think it was an anonymous tip. You don't believe all women now?
That's what the Kanye song is about. Let me get my food use restroom. 1 second. Jesus.
The life you lead is so outrageous, yet I can't tell a soul. Why, Peter? Why can't you tell a soul? Why don't you tell us now? Now that it's all out in the open, why don't you tell us why you can't tell a soul the secrets or the life Peter. That Epstein leads? And then we get another redacted photo.
None of it's
right?
stuck.
And then some more images, and Peter says, please tell me that's not where you actually are. And Jeffrey says, you can see the gym in the middle, just me and 4. And Peter says, I think you might have a more interesting life than the Dos Equis guy. Is this off the coast of France?
He deserved it.
No, it's my island in the Caribbean near St. Thomas. If you go to the Google Earth and type in Little St. James.
Did he get my
beautiful.
9 Brazilians I sent?
Isn't that nice?
Who? What?
Did you get my 9 Brazilians I sent out?
I got them.
It's behind closed doors. It's beautiful. In public, we'll hear about what a monster this guy is, right? But behind closed doors, when nobody's watching, oh, it's beautiful. There's some other stuff Peter Attia said, which I'm not going to get into. I don't think it's very, appropriate for medical professionals to be saying such things. But, this wasn't all business, right? This wasn't just doctor-patient kind of stuff. There's a lot of guy talk, a lot of banter between the fellas about ladies. And maybe that's why Peter Attia says that hopefully Jeffrey Epstein is in town when I'm back in 2 weeks. I go into Jeffrey Epstein withdrawal when I don't see him. So guys, these two were close. I mean, apparently so close that, Peter Attia goes into withdrawal when he doesn't see him. Peter Attia says, are you on island? Jeffrey Epstein says, P Beach, probably Palm Beach. And he says, what do you do when you get there? Jeffrey Epstein, guess. Peter Attia, besides that, I mean, they're not even trying to hide it, guys. This is barely code at this point. What do you do? Guess. Well, besides that, Jeffrey, we know what you do, right? So it's so funny that...
I mean, I'm not trying to... Are we assuming that every reference people hear, like, what do you do? And he's like, hey, that's supposed to be fucking kids? Or that just he fucks a lot of girls, fucks a lot of, young women? Are we supposed to be assuming that every reference is like, I know what you're really doing?
the FBI's like, we don't know. We can't tell what's out there. We have no evidence, right? No evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties and then proceed to dump on us a ton of evidence. At least to investigate, right? I'm not saying these people are guilty. Obviously, all of them deny, don't admit, blame other people, say other people are responsible for everything. So that is taken as a given. I am not accusing anyone here. I'm just saying, seems like we got a few leads here, fellas. Some people to look at. Now, I want to address the fact that Peter Attia has actually responded to this whole debacle. He says the following email is what I sent my team last night. I sent a similar version to my patients as well. You put your trust, your credibility, your hard work, what we built together, and I take that responsibility seriously. You deserve a complete and honest account of what did and did not happen. I apologize. I did not get this out sooner. I wanted to be thorough. He says, I was not involved in any criminal activity. My interactions had nothing to do with his abuse or exploitation of anyone. I was never on his plane, never on his island, never present at any parties. That said, I apologize and regret putting myself in a position where emails, some of them embarrassing, tasteless, and indefensible, are now public. So it's this apology. You know, he addresses some of the things, and he says that some of it's just banter, right? Like I said, it's just guy talk, whatever that means. He claims that his got a fresh shipment was in reference to a photograph of bottles of metformin, and then Jeffrey responded with a photograph of an adult woman. I responded with crude, tasteless banter. He says one line in that exchange about his life being outrageous and me not being able to tell anyone is being interpreted as awareness of wrongdoing. That's not how I meant it at all. What I was referring to poorly and flippantly was the discretion commanded by those socials and professional circles. The idea you don't talk about who you meet. I don't know, Peter. This seems like revisionist history. A little bit. I mean, personally, to me, as I'm viewing this, third hand, right? Just from the outsider perspective. Now, Peter says he did ask Jeffrey about his 2008 conviction because all this happened afterwards, right? He characterized it as prostitution-related charges. In 2018, I learned that this was grossly minimized. I was incredibly naive to believe him, and then later explains that in 2018, November, he read the Miami Herald investigative article, told him he needed to accept responsibility for what he did, and said he even asked Epstein to provide...
Wait, who's this guy right now? The only thing I wouldn't believe for any of these other billionaire people or wealthy people talking, they would have known exactly what he did. There's no shot that they wouldn't have an assistant, an advisor, or that they themselves wouldn't at least read the charging documents or something. That's a fucking lie.
Therapy to Epstein's victims, which is an interesting approach to have here. Now, the funny thing is, there are some more emails between Peter Attia that we need to read, because remember that he said he read this 2018 article from the Miami Herald. I believe it's this one by Julia K. Brown in November 28th. It's about Jeffrey Epstein assembling a large cult-like network of underage girls. But in December, Peter Attia says, home is very good, work stressful, making some changes. He asks him, what's the fallout from the recent story? Apparently talking about the Miami Herald. Now, maybe I just didn't see the emails, that where he was demanding accountability. I don't know what that's about. But Jeffrey Epstein says, same as usual, just tougher. Peter Attia says legally any change. Jeffrey Epstein, 0. So, I don't know. Maybe this whole you gotta provide therapy to, these victims happened. I haven't seen it yet. I definitely could see it. But it's just kind of shocking. I just kind of don't buy it. Like the whole, is there any change legally? That more sounds like you're covering yourself. I mean, just to be honest. But maybe I could look past all of that if not for the thing we're about to see, which just in my mind is maybe the worst thing I've seen in the files. Not for its, explicitness, the amount of simping that people did for Jeffrey Epstein. Now they all say, oh, it was a personal mistake, blah, blah, blah. I regret it. I didn't look into it enough. But the level is just, you've never seen anything like it. So remember I said I read a book by Peter Attia. It was called Outlive, and he's supposed to be this doctor.
Were all these people lying about their relationship with him? It's crazy. Bro, how many people lied about their relationship with me after I tweeted about the fucking firefighter? People do this shit all the time. Yeah, no shit. If something comes out that a dude is fucked, they're all gonna be like, oh, I didn't like that guy. I wasn't like the conspiracy shit makes your guy's brain so fucking retarded. Like, well, isn't it weird that everybody's lying now about being friends with him? You think it's weird that people were in private wanting to be friends with a guy who was insanely well connected and super wealthy, but publicly, after he gets out as a pedophile and fucking kills himself, they're like, oh, I was never friends with that guy. No, that's not weird at all. That's like the most normal, ordinary thing ever. That totally tracks with how much people would act publicly versus privately. Yeah.
doctor who knows a lot about longevity. So he writes it, and I picked it up because at the rate we're getting rid of these crimes, I need to live forever in order to try to stop some of these scams. But as I pick up this book, and one of the things in the book is Peter Attia kind of reflecting internally about how he's kind of been a bit, and I'm paraphrasing here, but a bit of a psycho in his life, and he needed to focus on family stuff. And so he kind of, it's almost a confessional of some embarrassing things in his life. And honestly, it comes off as very vulnerable, very self-reflective. You know, he's this doctor telling other people what to do, but he's not a very good patient. That's kind of how it comes off. And one of the stories is awful. I won't go too much into it, but basically his son has this horrible medical emergency. It's described in this book like this. A few months ago, Tuesday, July 11th, 2017, that date is important. At 5:45 to be exact, I received a call from Jill, my wife. She was in an ambulance with our infant son. Now, again, I'm not going to get into the details here because, it's tragic, and I'm not trying to bring that into it. What is relevant is that Peter Attia talks about how he stayed in New York and didn't show up because he was, quote, busy with his important work. Even today, just thinking about what happened, I feel nauseous about my behavior. I can't believe I did that to my family. Now, at the time I read that and I was like, well, it's at least as good that you self-reflected on that. It's horrible, but, yeah, you were a bit of a psycho. But what's crazy, now we find out some of the important work, it's a little unclear, but some of the important work may have been Jeffrey Epstein, which is just, it's so dark to imagine. Remember, he says July 11th, 2017 is when this all happened. And then he says he did not come home to San Diego until Friday the following week, 10 days later. So July 11th, 2017, 2 days after this happens, he's talking to Jeffrey Epstein. And they seem to be coordinating about something. Sure, what time? Jeffrey Epstein, 9:30. Peter Attia responds, sure, I can come earlier. Also, if you have a hard stop at 10, let me know. You're hanging out with Jeffrey? I don't even know what to say. This is out of pocket. There's no explanation for this. I didn't see this.
Do you think billionaires can have someone whacked, like pay a hitman and get away with it, or is that fantasy? Maybe with like much, much, much poorer people, but among like the ultra wealthy, my guess is that's probably like assassinating people from country to country. You wouldn't do that because that shit would get crazy real fast. That'd be my guess. I don't know. I could be wrong, but. Peter Attia responds, sure, I can come earlier. Also, if you have a hard stop at 10, let me know. You're hanging out with Jeffrey? I don't even know what to say. This is out of pocket. There's no explanation for this. I didn't see this in the response from Peter. Maybe he thinks he addresses it because he already admitted that was like scummy, but that is just. There's a reason that didn't make it in the book, is what I'm trying to say. I didn't see that in the book when I read it. I didn't see, I was actually, one of the things I needed to do, my important work was... Wait, what, am I misunderstanding something? Hold on.
Following week, 10 days later. He did not come home to San Diego until Friday the following week, 10 days later. So July 11th, 2017. 2 days after this happens, he's talking to Jeffrey Epstein. And they seem to be coordinating about something. Sure, what time? Jeffrey Epstein, 9:30. Peter Attia responds, sure, I can come earlier. Also, if you have a hard stop at 10, let me know. You're hanging out with Jeffrey? I don't even know what to say. This is out of pocket.
It's not, were they doing does he do a podcast or something? I have a hard stop. Hard stop is usually what you say for like, we're going to go film something or do something. Is it that he was hanging?
I gotta get the fuck out of here.
His wife had some medical emergency and he was hanging out with Epstein. He had a hard stop for when...
A hard stop at 10, let me know. You're hanging out with Jeffrey? I don't even know what to say. This is out of pocket. There's no explanation.
The data aligns with his child's medical emergency.
For this.
Does it 100%? I hate this shit. Hold on. On Tuesday, July 11th, I received a call from Jill, my wife. She was in blank. Okay, so July 11th. This is July 13th. See, it does not come home for 10 days. Okay.
happens.
So is none of this would be, isn't he saying in the book that he feels like he worked too much and he should have spent more time with his family, especially after an event? And there's a video of him doing a podcast. Is this not just correct, or what's the lie, or what's the
time? Jeffrey Epstein, 9:30. Peter Attia responds, sure, I can come earlier. Also, if you have a hard stop at 10, let me know. You're hanging out with Jeffrey? I don't...
In his own book, he said he was working, and that's why he missed it. It took 10 days before he saw his wife again. 2 days after the 11th, the news about the baby, he was with Epstein. Well, it sounds like he's doing other stuff as well, no? Are we just assuming that every single meeting, every single hangout with Epstein was always to fuck kids? That's every single meeting with Epstein. All of them are just kiddie fucking missions? Is that... Okay, base, got it. Okay, gotcha. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Okay.
I don't even know what to say. This is out of pocket. I mean, there's no explanation for this. I mean, I didn't see this in the response from Peter. I mean, maybe he thinks he addresses it because he already admitted that was like scummy, but that is just. There's a reason that didn't make it in the book. Is what I'm trying to say. I didn't see that in the book when I read it. I didn't see. I was actually, one of the things I needed to do. My important work was seeing or talking to.
Hard stop is used referring to a meeting. We have some other meeting coming up. Typically, I forgot Destiny's never worked for a corporation before, and obviously, neither has CoffeeZilla. Yeah, but you wouldn't use this as a hangout, would you? Wouldn't you say, I don't believe you have. I don't even know why I'm believing the chatter. I feel like if it was a hangout and you had a meeting at 10, you would say, hey, we can hang out. I got a meeting at 10. Do people who work in corporations literally say, yo, we can hang out tomorrow at 9. I got a hard stop on our hangout, though, at 10 o'clock? Or I got a hard stop on our pedophile adventures at 10? I got a hard stop there? I got a hard out?
To Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, isn't that weird? That's the simping that I'm talking about, is these people love this guy. Or that's how it seems to me. What are all these rich and powerful people doing protecting him?
Yes, all the time, especially if it's in relation to fucking kids, then they always use hard stop.
Missing emergencies for Jeffrey, fawning over Jeffrey, asking for Jeffrey's harem, saying their biggest problem is the life they lead is so outrageous they can't tell us all. I mean, what is going on?
I work at a company and have the business cards to prove it. The more powerful they are, the more I have a hard stop comes out because they are busy.
Here. And is it true they all didn't know, right? Because, I'm reading these documents, and it's hard to say who exactly knew what, when. But I don't believe, remember, they're all denying it, I don't believe nobody knew, right? Clearly, some people knew what was going on.
Is the claim that his son had a medical emergency and he was in New York with Epstein and decided instead of going back home to spend time with the kids in the hospital, he decides to stay in New York with Epstein? But it sounds like he met and did a lot of things in New York. I don't see the claim substantiated that he hung out with Epstein for 10 days. If anything, that one email makes it sound like they hung out for a single night, no? For a short period of time, no? Or maybe they did other times as well?
And there's all this kind of coded language in the files where they talk about this stuff almost in a nudge kind of way. I mean, here's some Woody Allen stuff. He was in the files. He says his business office, if you can make out the check to me, it looks very bad because then it looks like a gift to me. He says that to Epstein. He says, I don't want to be one of your women, or should I say, girls. And what's that? How do we... Come on, guys. Woody says, I would be much more expensive than your girls. You wouldn't be able to afford me. Jeffrey responds, yes, the price to pay would be too high. Woody says, this will be a beautiful friendship. And then Jeffrey says, as long as I follow orders, smiley face. Woody Allen sends a message saying, Woody says the exact same thing, but in a dirtier way. Jeffrey responds, what did he say? Woody Allen, are you kidding? I can't put it in writing. I mean, no evidence. Come on.
This is not evidence of a crime. Yeah, people say retarded shit in emails, but it's not evidence of a fucking crime.
No evidence, really, now?
I think I see a little bit of evidence. I'm squinting, but I think I can see a little bit of evidence. I mean, guys, like Jeffrey Epstein right here, where he's talking to a guy, he says Paris with Woody, and the person responds, for le pedophile convention. And Jeffrey says, I think pedophile is the plural.
Defend it, Steven.
I mean, no evidence. I mean, is that no evidence?
If I die, I hope they subpoena all of our logs from fucking Discord, okay? So here, Mr. Mooten and Destiny talk about the pedo rap tapes when they were in Hawaii with Dan. What was that referring to? Here, Dan says to Mr. Mooten and Destiny, do you guys want to hang out? And Mr. Mooten replies, not if there aren't any 6-year-olds. What did he mean by that?
It's nothing. We don't even want to
What did
question
he mean?
these people. There's no investigations going on. So yeah, it's honestly really sad to see how. Look, I'm not saying people around the world are having crazy consequences, but a few people are resigning. Thank goodness. You know, a few people are at least facing a little bit of scrutiny. But here, Elon Musk lays out the.
But Woody and Epstein are both actual pedos. It lands differently. Yeah, sure. Those guys are fucking. I don't know who was convicted of what. So people in chat said that Woody Allen was convicted of fucking a minor or whatever. Yeah, then they probably shouldn't be joking about shit like that. Or maybe they're not joking. Maybe it all is actual, not even thinly veiled references, almost explicit references to their pedophile ongoing activities, maybe.
The playbook, apparently for our guys, you know, we admit nothing, we deny everything, and we blame others. We just push the spotlight onto other people. And unfortunately, that's what you've seen the whole time from all the people in the files. You know, all of them say, oh, I was so happy these files came out. It's about shining accountability and justice for the victims, but I had nothing to do with it. Okay, so then where's the justice for the victims? So nobody, you know, all of you say somebody else had something to do with it, but everybody says nobody had anything to do with it. The FBI says they don't have any other, you know, investigations, any other kind of leads, despite the fact we have one of the procurers of the women just walking free, apparently, like no charges against him. Have we investigated him? I mean, it's just shocking how much the Epstein files show the powerful, how they protect their own, how so many of them knew what was going on to the extent they found out later. A lot of them tried to protect Epstein, like literally make PR campaigns for his reputation. And this is a dark look at.
Do you actually think it's the same context? I don't know, bro. I don't know these people. I've made like a million jokes to even friends personally, like, oh, don't go in my bedroom. My cameras are running. Like, I mean, Jesus, I'm in a court case for this. I don't know. Joan is filing this right now.
Joan is
The state of the
running
world.
right now, dude. She's got the flash
Because-
drive.
Epstein happened a while ago, but the reason everyone cares is because there's other Epsteins around, right? There's other people evading accountability all the time. There's other people that this band of billionaires and power brokers and PR people, even lawmakers, they circle the wagons and protect their own to the point you can never get accountability for anything. So anyway, that's it. It's a hard look at the Epstein files, but it's one we needed to do. But I want to make the disclaimer once again that, look, I've tried to read people's individual denials where I could, but you should just assume everyone
let me
that
wash
we are
my hands
talking
on
about
everybody.
firmly denies any kind of criminal wrongdoing. They deny anything towards about any kind of minors. And given the fact that our government doesn't seem to want to investigate anyone, I would just assume everybody here is completely clear. And so I want to get all those caveats in here because we are talking about some very powerful people with enormous means. And I don't want to be seen.
Hold on. Your frustration at people being brain broken on this is legit making you seem optically badly male. If people want to look into it, I don't care. I just don't know why you want me. I don't care that much about it. I've never cared about shit like this. I don't care. If there's something more concrete, we'll go over indictments and all that. I don't care. That's interesting to me. But fucking emails and shit.
They need you, Steven.
I don't even think I read the full fucking... I don't even think I read the full Steele dossier. And that was what? Like 10 pages? I didn't think I read that because it was all unsubstantiated claims about Trump. I didn't even read that full fucking thing. Like, Jesus. Drew. From Jeffrey Epstein. Try Jack's League of Legends. Seemed cool. What do you build on him? Is this a real email? It wouldn't surprise me. He was banned from Xbox Live, right?
What are you talking about?
Was Epstein a Jack's main?
He gives me Timo, man.
What? The fuck?